I feel like most parents try to like be more strict, thinking that would help, which I feel like it really depends on the situation. But I feel like being more strict would just cause more problems because now they feel like they can't come to you.
All right, well, what up, guys? This is Terrence with another episode of Terrence Thoughts. I am back with a very special guest, somebody that's near and dear to my heart. It's super weird for me to even talk to this person in this way because I remember her when she was a baby. But I thought it would be interesting to just talk to someone who's really immersed in the culture of being a teenager. And so I have my niece with me, Janaya. How you doing?
Good. I'm good.
Thank you so much for doing this. Uh, the thought of me doing this came about when I don't know if you remember me and then your dad was talking with you and we saw your playlist and I was like, yo, like Naya's really like trying to do the thing, like trying to live right and try to do that. So um, I was really excited to talk to you and just kind of get the your perspective on how it is being a teenager in the 2024. Your uncle was a teenager way back in the 90s, long before you was thought of. So, so it's totally different now with social media and stuff like that, and we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
But is there anything you want to share? What is a typical day for you? Like, what are your processes when you wake up? Like, is it just like, is it boring? Is it just like, oh, I gotta go to school, I gotta do homework, I gotta clean my room, or is it like, what is your thought process for you as a teenager right now?
I feel like for me, I feel like it depends on what I'm doing. So like in this during the school year, I'm probably more focused on like my work and what I have to do. But in the summer right now, it's just about like dance, like getting ready for dance, make sure I'm stretching and then
Okay.
going to camp in the morning. So
Okay.
I feel like that's what it's about
All
right
right.
now.
So your hobby, like, what are you doing? Like, so you're in dance and stuff like this. Is that like theater or is it gymnastics or?
Now I'm in drill, so like yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's cool. That's cool. What about your what is it like as far as relationships? So like what is the friend group like? Like let's go back to high school. I know you're in I'll go back to the school year. I know you're in the summer now, but during the school year, like what are maybe not your challenges, but what are the challenges you see in other teenagers, whether it's girls or boys, deal with it on a daily basis? Is it more around relationships? Is it more around school? Is it more around just general peer pressure? Like what is the challenges that a typical teenager face, you think?
Yeah, for me,
You're the spokesperson for all teenagers, so I don't want you to feel that pressure. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
so for me, I see more like relationship things sometimes. It depends. And then sometimes I see more of like smoking. You see the group that's like smoking or doing drugs or whatever. And then like you'll see the group that's like to themselves, like they're all cool and stuff like that. So I feel like it's really different and varies. I think there's a lot of different kids in there with a lot of different like people and friends and like different kind of people surrounding them. But for me, I feel like I'm kind of with like the chill group. I'm kind of like to myself. I have my friends, yeah, but kind of like quiet to myself.
And your friend group, like for me, there's like different categories of friends. There's people that know me, that know my name. There's people that have my phone number. And then there's people that like come to my house and I go to their house and they know my secrets. Like, so as far as like the people that know your secrets and that like come to your house, how many friends you have? You say that's like real close like that.
For me, it's two
Okay,
right
that's
now.
good. That's a good number. Keep it that way. It's but no, that's a good number.
Yeah.
Um, wow. So some of the stuff you mentioned is not surprising. Some of the stuff I remember dealing with as well. When did you start hearing about drugs and all of the I guess you could say the cliche stuff that parents are concerned about. You know, parents are concerned about drugs, sex, and that's the two biggest things, right? That's all conversations revolve around those two categories. But
Yeah.
when did you start seeing that kind of become more frequent? Like what grade would you say that you saw that?
I feel like for me, it's this year because throughout middle school, I was in private school. So,
Okay.
and grade, I was homeschooled. So I wasn't really around like my peers like that, especially
Mm-hmm.
since the I went to was really small. So I wasn't really around a big group of people like I am this year. So it's
Gotcha.
definitely a lot.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that transition. So yeah, you was in private school. Then you transitioned to a public school. So what's the biggest differences you identified? Is it just the amount of people, or like different? Is it a different type of kids? If that makes sense. Private school,
Yeah,
you typically think of the rich, privileged kid, right? That
yeah.
has everything, and then public school is like you may get June boy from the hood, you may get whoever. So like, what is the biggest difference?
I like the biggest difference is how we act. Cause I feel like from private school and public school, we're still around the same kind of like not price range, like price range of family, the people. I feel like we all live in the suburbs. None of us like come from the hood, but I do feel like the way we act is very different. So I feel
Okay,
like in public school, you have a lot more people to like that peer pressure you and try to get you into doing stuff. And then you see stuff on social media that also gets you to like start doing stuff that you don't really know is wrong. Well, you do, but like you don't really know like how bad the consequences are until you like really get in them. So I definitely feel like they're different.
what's the demographic if you had a guess around the school you go to? I'm not going to say the school name, obviously, but is it like
Yeah.
50% white, 30% black, or is it like more mixed?
I,
Like it's like a pretty even mix. Like what do you think it is?
I feel like my school is very like big on black students. Like
Okay,
it has a really high population of black students, but I feel like it's like I would say like 60% black and then like
okay.
40% white and Indian, like Indian.
And the mixed up other, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Um, just in general, how you like the school? Like, I know where we are, you can kind of choose what high school you want to go to in a sense because there's so many options, and you chose this school, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah.
so do you think you made the right choice, or like, are you even open to maybe looking at other high schools like later, or how do you feel about this school overall?
I definitely feel like I chose the right one. I feel like there's a good amount of people that like look like me or like resign with me and stuff like that. I feel like since the school is big, you can find your people that act like you
Gotcha,
and still like, look like you. So
gotcha.
like you don't have to be with people that do stupid stuff or just say stupid things like they
Yeah,
you like the option more.
gotcha. Okay. Let's talk about social media. So
Okay.
you're 15. So all you know is social media. If you're not aware, I'll give you a little history lesson. Social media didn't come out until like 2008, 2009. And so I didn't grow up with those challenges, if you will, if you consider those challenges. It may not be challenges for you, but for me, I think it's a big challenge because you got to deal with things like cyberbullying and stuff like that. Stuff that wasn't even an option when I was growing up. So let's talk about some of the things you like about social media. Is there anything you like? Like, what are some of your favorite social media apps you like to use, and what do you like about social media, if
Okay,
anything?
so well, I like TikTok. TikTok, I've been on TikTok for a while. I
Mm-hmm.
like it, but I feel like it was definitely better when I was like growing up when I was young on TikTok. I feel like now, if I was a parent, I technically wouldn't allow like my really young kids. Like I was like four, I was in fifth grade when I got TikTok. I probably wouldn't allow my fifth grader to get TikTok. I feel like how much with how much it's changed, I wouldn't. I'm also on Instagram, but I'm kind of like newer to that, so I can't really speak on it too much. But I feel like with TikTok, I wouldn't really allow like my fifth grader to be on it. Not
And
like
what?
right.
And why is that? I don't know if you're aware, but like it's could potentially TikTok could go away next year. in the United States for a lot of various reasons. But like, what would you say to a parent that has a fourth or fifth grader? Like, why would you allow TikTok? That's pretty interesting. You say that as a teenager,
Yeah.
honestly.
I feel like it's just because of like the content now is really different than what it was before. I feel like before it was like a little more innocent kind of. I wouldn't say super innocent, but it was innocent and it was like fairly coming up because it was like right after Musically. So it was like it was fairly coming up and I feel like it was just more like I don't know, it was more like innocent kind of. But I feel like with now it's way more explicit. Definitely with all the
Mm,
songs, like the dances too. Like yeah, they're way more like explicit and like I feel like if you're young and you don't really take like accountability and you don't see that, like you fall into like the different traps. Like even when I was young, I really let like TikTok like influence me and how I acted. So I definitely feel like now with I feel like you can still influence kids like that, like the same way,
mm.
but like because of the stuff that's on there.
A lot more explicit. Yeah, I tried to get on it a little bit. I downloaded it and I was like, some stuff is funny. You get into the funny trap, you know.
Yeah.
I like the funny videos, but yeah, some definitely like cussing and stuff that just I wouldn't want my daughter listening to.
Yeah.
Is there any other apps or social media apps you don't like or you don't recommend? What's like the
I
main one?
I like TikTok is really the main one. I feel like Instagram too, but like Instagram is really all like it really depends. I feel like Instagram is gonna watch too. I feel like with TikTok, if they really just be like pushing stuff that's viral, rather Instagram pushes like, but it's just like you want to see. I feel like with TikTok, it exposes you to some stuff that you might not actually want to see.
Oh,
So
gotcha. Oh, that makes
yeah.
sense. What about Facebook? You still on Facebook?
I got
No, I'm playing. That's the grandparent social media right now. So Facebook gonna turn into that. Let's talk about school for a little bit. Like as far as schoolwork, like what is the so you're doing drill and stuff like that. Maybe doing other things as you get into higher grades. But what are some of the challenges of balancing schoolwork and trying to do extra activities outside of school?
I
Like is
feel
school
like
hard?
I feel like school isn't hard. I feel like I kind of wish I challenged myself a little harder this year. Definitely, I feel like I could take on a little more. Also, I feel like with on level, this isn't every class, but some classes the kids are like really like disruptive,
Mm,
and I can like it can cost you because like teachers they don't really want to deal with that, so they might just like not do anything at all. But I feel like with school, I feel like it wasn't really that hard. I feel like it was more me trying to like find myself and figure out
mm,
how it works and stuff. Cause like being in public school after like 3 years of not is definitely really 4 years is like definitely hard. It's definitely like a reality check. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. Do you ever think about asking your parents to go back to private school, or you think you like public school and you should say it because it may help you? One thing I like about public school is prepare you for university, but I like college. But like, do you ever think you'll want to go back to private school, or you kind of settled and good right now, or what?
I feel like I definitely want to stay in public school so that I
Okay.
can think up because I feel like I want to join choir. And I'm also thinking about joining a student co. I was definitely thinking about that. But I definitely like public school. I think it
Okay.
gives you way more opportunities and it does prepare you for college or university. So, yeah.
Oh, that was interesting. You mentioned, the disruptive students and the teacher maybe not wanting to deal with that. So they just like, hey, here, do this. You got to do this at home. If you have any questions, email me or ask me tomorrow type of thing. Um, is there, like, how do you feel about previous grades and your current grade? Like, because I know you mentioned you want to push yourself more. Um, so you're in what, 10th grade or you going to the 10th? Or going to the
I'm on
11th?
to the tenth grade.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about like just the workload in itself, like geometry? Like, do you think it's hard or is it just, and maybe you got an advantage because you was in private school, so I don't know how hard they pushed you there. But like, Like, is the subject matters hard? Are you doing like extra work to like get college credit? Like, what is that kind of looking like?
I feel like for next year they don't allow you to take any college credit yet. And I think
Okay.
it's like 11th grade when you can start doing that. But I feel like, yeah, it definitely does get a little harder. But honestly, I feel like with math, I feel like if you ask, for me, all I gotta do is really ask a bunch of questions and then I get it. But I feel like with the workload, I feel like the workload honestly isn't, it's not hard. They don't give you like a bunch of work to do, in my opinion. It's definitely like work you can get done in class. So
Oh,
I
I see.
never really had homework.
We're recording this on Juneteenth. So, are you familiar with what this day represents, and like how are you in relation to like African history and Black history and stuff like that, especially in America?
Yeah, I definitely know about Juneteenth. Yeah, I definitely think like I love that it's like a big thing now.
Yeah,
I love that
come up
about
on
it.
it.
Will know more about Juneteenth and like what it's about and what it comes from. Definitely.
And so, how do you view like white people? Like when you learned about racism and stuff, did you like have an issue with like you look at white people differently when you first learned about that, or like did your parents like help you like process that? Like how did you deal with that when you first kind of grasped what really happened?
I feel like for me, honestly, I don't treat them differently or I don't really have no hatred towards them because my first best friend was white. But I definitely don't like think of them no differently. But I definitely cannot watch no slave movies. I don't want
Yeah, it's a lot.
to.
Let's talk about mental health real quick. Like, what are your thoughts on therapy? Do you ever think about that? Like, so how do you handle? How do you keep your mental health in check? Like, do you meditate? Do you? I mean, it's weird for me to even ask you all this, but you're so mature and like, I just, I forgot what it's like to be 15. So you kind of got to remind me. But like, how do you handle your mental on an everyday basis?
I feel like since I changed like the different types of music that I listen to, I feel like definitely my mental state is definitely way better. And I feel like I did change my music to Christian music. I feel like I lean more towards Christ or I listen to a Christian song that can really just like get me in like the right mood and stuff. Yeah, I feel like before I changed it, I definitely was a little more like sad. I feel like especially when I've gone through like a harder time trying to find myself. I definitely feel like I definitely did struggle with that a little bit. I don't feel like you like horrible, but I definitely feel like I was like doubting myself. I feel like now I'm more like stable in who I am, which definitely helps. So,
So that's super dope. Let's start. Let's kind of get into that. Your faith. Again, that's what kind of triggered me to even think about doing this. Seeing your music selection and stuff like that. So let's talk about like what is some of your favorite artists, if you could think of any that you like
my
you have on rotation.
yeah, my favorite it is Naomi Rain. I really love her songs. I love her Peace song, and then I also love the song that she did with Maverick City, the story also. I like her songs are really good. I definitely feel like they definitely like speak to you when you're listening to them. I love listening to her songs.
And that's the one that she's the lead. She's one of the lead singers of Maverick, right?
Well, no, she
That
sings with
girl.
the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just making sure we're talking about the same person. Naomi Rain. You said
yeah.
okay. That's cool. Anybody else? Like anybody like if you met a teenager that wasn't really familiar with Christian music, all they know is Glorilla and Cardi B and all this stuff. Like who would you shoot them? So you'll shoot them Naomi Rain, anybody else?
I feel like if it depends on like the music. If they like rap music, I would definitely give them like Craig or Andy D'Amelio because their music is more like rap. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely would give them something that they like resign to, and then I'll probably give them Naomi because her songs are more like slower, kind of like R&B, like definitely. So
That's dope. So, um, what helps you with your faith? Like what is so? Kind of give you a little backstory. growing up, church wasn't as cool as it is now. It was very boring, old demographic. Your grandma went, they sang the old songs, "Victory Is Mine" and all this stuff, right? It wasn't no youth center where you kicked it. It was just Sunday school. The church you go to is very um, big and forward thinking, and I know y'all building a new facility and stuff like that. So it's like it's a cool church, right?
Yeah.
So you may not know any different, but like, what helps you pursue Christ? Like, whether you know it or not, you may know it. It's super rare for a 15-year-old to really be like where you are. So what helps you with that? Like, is it parenting, or is it like a youth pastor, or is it your friends that you hang with that help encourage you to do it? Like, it could be a mixture of all of that, but like, what is one thing you could think of that helps you pursue Christ?
For me, I think it's the community because I definitely wanted to do it because I heard a sermon in like January. We were talking about music and how music is ultimately is what makes you and it can influence you to do stuff. I definitely loved that, and also like my parents, they started listening to Christian music like way before I did, like a couple years before. And so I've seen like how we used to listen to like the radio station that used to play like all them like rap songs, but now how we listen to like Christian music now. So I definitely feel like that helps me. And also like my friends, people that I surround myself with, like my best friend, she listens to Christian music. She doesn't listen to any secular. So I definitely feel like it's my community that like helps me do that.
That's super dope. That's super dope. Encourage adults. Like, what are some things like? It's almost like you're 15, so like my daughter Trinity. Like, I'm sure it's probably a lot of advice you would want to give her at her age to help her through certain things. Like, don't let that stuff bother you. When I was 11, that used to bother me a lot. But at 15, I know that that's not as serious. So as
Yeah.
adults, we kind of feel that same way. It's like, man, you 15, don't allow this type of stuff to bother you. But it's hard to convey that because at 15, these are the things that challenge that you these are the challenges you face, and that's all you know. You only know what you know, right? And
Yeah.
so, what are some things if you had to speak to an adult, like parents or anyone alike, like when you talk to a teenager, like are they really hearing us, or is it just going through one ear and not the other? What are some things that don't work that parents typically do, but it really don't work? Like, so I don't know if that question makes sense, but like help the parents parent better.
I feel like for me, it'll probably try to change yourself first and then they will follow after. I definitely feel like if you parents is part of the reason on why I do believe in Christ because I was raised in a Christian household. Um, like I said, we do listen to Christian music. I feel like change yourself and then they will follow. I feel like most parents try to like be more strict, thinking that would help, which I feel like it really depends on the situation. But I feel like being more strict would just cause more problems because now they feel like they can't come to you. I feel like that's what I felt like when I had like my friends that had like stricter parents. I feel like I just seen that the way they act. I just feel like yeah, the parents listen to Christian music, but they add so much like restriction, so it makes them feel like they can't really like go to them. So I definitely would be like change yourself first, and then they'll follow it.
The victim. Thank you. Good advice. Um, so yes, yeah. So, and we're almost done, but you talked about you see how other kids act with stricter parents. So let's talk about that, because um, when I was growing up, the girl that couldn't go anywhere, the biggest freak. I think I can say that word with you because you know what that means. But she was the biggest freak, right? And as a father of a daughter, I'm very cautious of making sure that I give her some liberties, but still maintain a boundary of protection. Like, Trinity doesn't get on TikTok, but we may not allow sleepovers, right? With certain people, but like, what do you see? Like, what is the behavior of someone who has super strict parents? Like, their parents always got to be around. They can't go anywhere. Don't worry about that. I get it. They can't go anywhere without their parents being around or whatever the case may be. Like, what are some of the behaviors that you see with girls and boys that kind of deal with that?
I feel like there's nothing wrong with like having boundaries and setting boundaries. 'Cause I definitely like had like screen time growing up, which honestly I thought it definitely helps with, like time management. So I definitely feel like there's ways to like help it, but like I feel like also like the people that have only like 1 hour of like free time, like what do you expect them to do with the rest of the day? So I feel like that definitely, especially like at school, I definitely they definitely would change. I feel like with the kids that I've seen that have more stricter parents, I definitely feel like I knew a girl that her mom didn't allow her to like wear any type of makeup. So you like get to school and then they put it on. So I definitely see like that. But I feel like I just feel like some stuff is like okay. I feel like I don't mind like the makeup thing is fine. As like I understand like the no full face makeup thing. I understand that. But I mean like the ones that don't like allow it at all. I feel like yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
So
honestly,
they go to school and they end up trying it anyway, right? Because
yeah.
you can't follow them all through school. So yeah, I get that. I totally get that. How does Janaya feel about relationships with the opposite sex? Like, are you even there yet, or is it like that's not even a thought, or
I
is that not something you? Yeah,
honestly I feel like relationship can be fine as long as you are like ready, you have your boundaries set and you like 100% know what you want and what you don't want. So that when you get into a relationship, you know how to say no or to walk away. And because I feel like with people, like I feel like once they get in a relationship and they stay in it and they get hurt, I feel like they go back and they hurt more people and it just turns into a cycle of like hurt for people. So I definitely feel like or the whole like when they make you wait an hour to reply back. I feel like that type of stuff is kind of stuff like
leave you on red.
yeah, the stuff that you walk away from. 'Cause I feel
Yeah,
like you should know like what your bound not your yeah what your boundaries are and like what you like expect. I feel like you definitely shouldn't lower it, and then you should like keep it. So yeah,
so our ten greatest and ninth graders having sex. Please say
honestly,
no.
I don't
Huh?
want to see that. I said for me, I have not seen it. I don't want to see it, but I definitely have friends that have seen it happen
Oh
and like
wow.
the school bathrooms and stuff like that. I definitely know people that seen it happen, but I have not seen it. I don't want to see it. It's like why? Because I feel like I cannot do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait till you're like 50. Um. Let's see. So closing thoughts. I mean, I really enjoyed this time. I think I've kind of got a gist of what it's like as a teenager. And I really do appreciate you sharing this. You share some really great tips, and you are mature above your age, and I'm very proud of you. But any closing thoughts, anything you want to share in general to like teenagers, preteens? Let's talk about preteens. Anything you want to share to preteens? People that's like 11, 12, that's getting ready to become teenagers. What advice would you give them?
Definitely focus on God more than these boys because they definitely will not give you the time of day if you don't want to. I did like also especially since I've seen like a lot of girls wait for them to come to them like saying the text message things. But I feel like definitely go to God first because God He won't make you wait. Definitely. I feel like just try building your relationship with God and getting closer to Him so you know what's right from wrong and they know what to look for in a relationship.
Nothing more, nothing less. I think I concur. Naya, thank you so much for doing this. I love you dearly, and I'll buy you whatever you want because you're just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.